I'm back and I'm still looking at the bushfire offences. A recap. It's December 2023. I'm following 4 local cases from the Hunter Valley. The legal proceedings have been going on for about 4 or 5 months now. All of them are out on bail. I'm back here in Newcastle in early December. We have the case of Adam, not his real name, with 13 fires. He's still not required to enter a plea. There's another mention in early December here in Newcastle. Adam is excused and not required to attend court. It's really packed in court today in Newcastle. There's a big queue of solicitors. But remember, Newcastle has a number of courts running at the same time. Adam's solicitor is actually sitting in the gallery, so I'm expecting a really long wait. Court starts after 9:30, and there's one of those cases that involves drugs and scuba divers. These scuba divers are entering pleas today. They're in custody, so they're coming in via video, and an interpreter is required. It's slow, and you can see the court is carefully going through the process while the queue of solicitors is growing. If you ever want to know how many solicitors you can fit in one courtroom, come to Newcastle local court. Then the most amazing queue jumping manoeuvre happens. Adam's solicitor is now at the bench just after 10 a.m. Very impressed they've managed to jump the entire queue. Turns out the brief of evidence is still not ready and it will return again before Christmas. I was out in under an hour. The journalists were there. I always see them in Newcastle. Also a tip if you come to Newcastle local court. They are very particular about sunglasses being worn on the top of people's heads. So as soon as you walk in, someone will quickly appear and ask you to remove them. I didn't embarrass myself with the doors as usual, but I did get mistaken for someone important in a weird sort of mix-up inside the court building. I think I'm spending too much time here.
Meanwhile, Chris and David's cases are still in Cessnock Local Court. David has 2 fires on the same day in October 2023. In late November has entered pleas. He entered a plea of guilty to the smaller Abermain fire and pled not guilty to the Kurri fire that was the emergency warning bushfire later in the day. David will have another court mention in January. Chris has 1 fire. It's the same as David. It's the small Abermain fire in October. He has entered pleas. However, I'm completely confused about what they actually are. He is seeking a plea reversal. This will be heard in later January 2024, so I'm hoping to figure it out then.
I'm back here in Newcastle and it's a couple of days before Christmas 2023. Adam's case is mentioned here. Adam was excused, so he's not required to appear. And this time, an agent appears on behalf of his solicitor. It's not uncommon for a solicitor to send an agent on their behalf. The mention happens within the first sort of 30 minutes of the court starting. It's all over in under a minute. I noticed the case is still with a police prosecutor, so I haven't worked out if the DPP will deal with this or will it stay with the police. The brief still isn't ready. They're waiting on evidence, so it will return in late January 2024.
Apart from those court mentions, there are a couple of bushfire-related events that happened in December 2023. There were 3 firefighters that were killed in November and December 2023. One was attending a fire in the Sydney area, and the person was both a retained firefighter and a volunteer firefighter. The other firefighter was a volunteer. It actually happened on the same day. They were attending a fire near the New South Wales-Victoria border. The third was a volunteer from the New South Wales mid-north coast who was assisting with a bushfire near Walgett. This had been started by lightning and had been burning for days. I'm just acknowledging many volunteer firefighters travel away from their homes and help with other fires in parts of the state, and sometimes they don't return. Being December, we have started a hot, dry summer and are officially in the bushfire season. On the 14th of December 2023, it's a really awful afternoon here in the Hunter Valley. We've had a hot, dry winds from Maitland. You could see black smoke and planes circling over near Weston. There were sirens passing through Maitland all afternoon. It's called the Cessnock Road Abermain fire. It's reported that it was 3 fires that started in the same general area that became one. 5 homes were lost, 1 business was lost, about 11 homes were damaged, and 850 hectares were burnt, and there was general mayhem of an emergency level bushfire. I noticed the brigades call the bushfire a 10th alarm fire. There are heaps of resources sent into this area. I could see the circling 747s that dropped the fire retardant from Maitland. Remember, this is 10 days before Christmas. There are families that lose everything. There are a lot of photos, social media, TV, and print stories. I noticed a follow-up report on NBN TV days afterwards saying that the cause of the fire is still under investigation. I haven't found any other information on the cause of the bushfire. A lot of brigades respond. I'm sure that they were exhausted afterwards and very stretched for time leading up to Christmas. However, I noticed they still managed to do their annual Santa lolly runs before Christmas. All of the brigades did lolly runs around the Hunter, including the brigade that the defendant Adam had an association with. So again, I'm going to argue, I think we owe it to volunteer firefighters to tell the real story. It's not just a headline about an individual's behaviour, rather a lot of people pausing their lives, showing up and making a contribution to the community. That's it for 2023. There have been bushfires, deaths, homes lost, business lost, bush burnt and arrests.